Alright, here they are. I got the Federal Formosa tires, AZ01. They're 205 55/15s. So got them mounted on those wheels. Nothing too spectacular, but hopefully they'll look pretty good on the 8.6. In the last video I was saying how I was going to use a bolt. I remember on the end of the emergency brake, end of the emergency brake handle, I was going to use a bolt, but if I looked at it closely and if I welded a bolt to that handle, it can only stay in that one angle, and with the handle moving back and forth, if the bolt is screwed onto this thread, it might put some stress on the rod and also might hinder the rod from pushing in to the cylinder whenever I need it to engage. So instead of using the bolt method, I decided to use these little caps. Almost, let me see. It's like almost like a thimble kind of deal. I just found them at Lowe's. They were $1 for 2 of them. And what that will do is it will allow for this rod to like this to pivot, I guess I should say. When the emergency brake is engaged and disengaged, and this will pivot and basically it'll just sit in there. And then when the emergency brake is released, this rod will has a spring obviously in the cylinder, and it will push out and remain in the hat. Making up these terms as I go. So this will just give me some, it'll allow it to pivot and won't put so much stress on the rod and the cylinder. So let me show you what it looks like with installed. Okay, so here's the emergency brake. This is the that little hat piece. I went ahead and painted it black. There's that piece. Kind of ugly, I know, but it's going to be covered up anyway. So, and here's the mount. I had to cut off a little bit more. I wanted to make sure I could clear that bolt if I ever need to remove it. There's the 2 mounts for the cylinder. Basically welded along the back end there to this piece right here, and this piece bolts into the tunnel. So there's that. Let me show you now with a little movie magic. Alright, here's the here it is, all mounted up. I had to, made it at an angle, so when the emergency brake pivots up, this actually straightens out as this comes up. The rod's just sitting in there. Of course, that's as far out as it will go, so it'll never come out. I just have that mocked up right now in there. Got space down here. It's not resting on the bottom because when this console is on, I left that little piece there. So there it is right there. Let me show you how it works. Show it in action. Okay. So let's say you just want to engage the brake. Just lift up like that. There we go. And that's it. It just pushes in on that cylinder. and your brakes will be engaged, the rear brakes. And then when you want to release, you just press the button. Okay, I got the wheels installed. Here it is. Wheels and tires. It'll look better once it's on the ground. It's still high up in the air, you know, it's just got factory suspension, but it'll look much better when it's on the ground instead of on these race ramps. Wheel chocks, or what they're going to call them. But yeah, look good. I like them. Looks like I'm about ready to go touring on the moon, but it's all right. Get it lowered in a little while. I don't know how much I'm going to lower it or which route I'm going to take, but not yet anyways. There you go. Let's look at the clearance here. It looks like I'm going to be okay without having to roll my fenders or roll my quarter panels or whatever you want to call them. But there it is. Let's see if I can. I don't know, it's pretty close, but I think it'll be all right. So really, all I need to do now is get the brakes ready to go. And that includes this handbrake. Then just do a little freshen up on the front end, and be ready to drive this thing. Alright, here I am. I'm underneath the car, and I'm going to have to remove the drive shaft, it looks like. And that will give me easier access to this is where the emergency brake cable goes to. So I'm going to have that way I can run the brake lines through there easier. And tap into it also with the existing brake line up here. So it looks like what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to remove this drive shaft, and also take a couple of these clips off right here. That way I'll be able to get to maneuver that brake line a little bit easier. And the brake line is this one right here. Just follow it down. There. New brake line. So what we want to do is tap into this line. But I'm going to try to tap into it up here, closer to where my line will be running up through that access hole. Alright, I've taken these all these clips right here that holds the lines in order. Here's the brake line. It hooks up there, and it makes it nice and flexible. I can work with it now a little bit. I left this one in right there, so this will bend down far enough to where I can manage it. Here's the bottom side, and I decided I went ahead and drilled 2 holes a little bit further back from where the emergency brake goes through the tunnel there, because really there was nowhere else I thought maybe there was a little bit of room I could maybe feed the lines up through, but I would have to drill here anyways. So whether I drill here or drill here, it doesn't matter, but this is closer to the cylinder, so it'd be less bending on the lines. So what I'm looking at is there's a nice straight section right here. I could tap into this, so I'll have to cut it about right here maybe, and then cut it right here, and then I'll make a flare right here, and put a connector, run a line up through here, and then on this side, same thing, put a connector, a flare, and then run the second line up through here, and that'll be my in and out, you know, going in and then out, back to the back. So we'll do that next. Alright, now that I got the holes drilled out and I got the line ready to tap into, this is actually, you want to go in, this is the inlet right here, and this is the outlet. So this line will connect to the line that runs to the back, and this line will, the line that comes from the front of the car will come up through here and into here. So I'm gonna go ahead and route those. And here it is, looking all pretty. Not too bad. Once I put the center console on, it'll look completely OEM. Okay, we got it done, and I am glad that it is over with. I'll show you what kind of path it takes. We'll go through the brake line. I mean, the brake line is, this is from the front of the car here. Comes over and up and around, and then you go, it connects to this connector here, which runs up through that hole and goes to that cylinder, the back side of the cylinder, and then through the front side of that cylinder, the angled side, that line is right here, it comes down connects to this joint, runs along, back all the way down. It's kind of hiding here. Until finally it goes to that splitter there, and then breaks off to the left and right wheels. So there it is. It's got a little grommet on that side. Should always have something to protect any kind of line that's going through metal, like a hole. I mean, should put some kind of protective sleeve on it, or a grommet if you can, because eventually you'll wear a hole through it. So there you go. Alright, hopefully you can see this good enough, but here it is, all finished. Basically it looks like just the OEM setup, and that's exactly what I want. Emergency brake. But when you open this up, you can see, and you can see I had to do a little bit more cutting on the back side, which oh, is it gonna focus? There it goes. Which does suck, but had to do that in order to get this thing to fit. So there you have it. So the only downside is I lose the little compartment for that. And why go with a hydraulic e-brake? Well, the reason, and the only reason why I did it, was because when I swapped rear ends, the cables are different, the e-brake cables, and the you know, the lengths, and it's hard to, you know, match that. So I might have been able to get some GTS emergency brake cables, but and make them work, but well, you know, everybody knows about the markups on the prices on these, for these cars. I think they were like almost like around $80 for one or two. I can't remember if it was just one or two, for but $80, maybe even more than that in some instances that I've seen. And I wanted to try to just go with something, make something work a little bit cheaper, and I just wanted to try that the hydraulic brake out. So that's basically it. So you know, I just did it because out of necessity, really, to get something to work. So alright, well, the rear end is 100% complete. Now moving up front, and man, does it need a lot of work. It's funny because when I bought the car, put it in the garage, and that was it. And this is the first time I've taken the front wheels off, believe it or not. And so this is the first time I'm seeing all this too. I got some rusty calipers. Maybe they can, I'm sure they could be cleaned up, but looks like a lot of work to get things back to roadworthy, I should say. Cobwebs are complimentary. Well, I got the brake caliper off, and looking at it further, the wheel bearing seems to be okay still. So I think what I'm going to do is just put everything back together, and I'll bleed the brakes, and that way I can at least get it out on the road, get it in the, you know, get to at least drive it around a little bit, and then I'll just upgrade this stuff as I go. I will put new bearings on it, and just do some little restoration on these. I'll probably do some new brake lines and everything. So, because I don't know how old they are. They look like they'll be okay, but you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. So the calipers definitely need to be refurbed. And basically that's it. I mean, so I wanted to take this off and just give it a quick peek. So now all I need to do is bleed the brakes, and might be able to get this thing out of the garage. It's been in there. It's been stuck in this garage for since middle of February. So.